Welcome to We Tattoo Hair Podcast, where we're going to talk about the fears, the frustrations, and the emotional journey that people go through when they're losing their hair. Scalp micropigmentation is the only hair loss solution with instant results right from the first session. I'm your host, Lima, and confidence starts here.
When I came in here first, I was very nervous. I came in, you made me feel comfortable. It ended up being great. The session we did was great, and I'm back. After the couple weeks of having it and absorbing the whole new look and the whole new change, I've loved it. Got a lot of compliments from my workplace, people asking me questions. So far it's been an awesome experience.
How was it when you went to work?
One thing that I was very nervous about when I first got it done is walking into my workplace and having to answer a lot of questions, and people, how when you get something done like that, people are going to look, they're going to notice, they're going to have questions. And what was cool about it was it looked so natural that people were like, well, I thought it would look different. Like, I thought it would be like, some kind of crazy look, but it looks so natural. It looks great. Like, that was one of the great things about it. I didn't feel uncomfortable walking back into work because it looked so natural. It looked like, my hairline was just back and my head was shaved down. So
yeah, we kept it nice and subtle. Yeah, especially for the first session.
That's what I was a little nervous about up front. But I walked into work and it was like, oh man, it looks great. Like, it wasn't anything that was overwhelming, and I didn't feel uncomfortable walking in there and having to ask questions. So it was actually kind of cool. People were very curious.
Explain a little bit about what you do.
I've been in the gaming business for 31 years. I'm an assistant shift manager, and I worked in table games at the casino for years and years and years. Being a shift manager, I'm responsible for a lot of employees. I talk to people constantly. I go out on the floor, the gaming floor, and I deal with guest issues or things like that. So my appearance is very important to me. It's very professional. You have to be very professional. When you're speaking to someone, people are looking you up and down. You know how it is when you're talking to people, and these are people that I'm meeting and I'm solving their problems and I'm dealing with issues. So looking professional, clean is really it's a big part of when you're speaking to people, and people are responding to you on. They immediately look at you and decide they're looking at you like, okay, this guy's professional looking. So
I deal on the edge a little bit too, right? Because they've been drinking. They're probably trying to scam the system with money, right?
Well, you deal with everything. So you coming out and looking professional and feeling confident in how you look when you're meeting people and you're introducing yourself and what you do it's uber important.
Kind of off topic, has there ever been anything kind of crazy that kind of stands out for you?
Well,
we know crazy stuff happens all the time. I mean, we all seen the movie Casino, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything like that? Or?
Well, it's not. I mean, the movie is one thing, and then the business is another. But just going out and meeting people is cool. I meet a lot of cool people, and then I meet some people that are not very happy about certain things. But I always, when I go out, I like to be professional. Talk with people, try to solve their issues, and get feedback on what they're dealing with. And I deal with issues off and on. So, so far so good.
So I know that your image has always been very important, from not only your image but also your health.
Well, I live a very healthy lifestyle. Work out, try to take care of myself, and I know you mentioned turning 40. You ought to try turning 50. Life just goes right by it so fast, but you can see the transformation in your age as you move along, and you look, especially, I think one of the main things that I decided to come into is, like, I was going through my closet one day and I come across a duffel bag that had some pictures in it. So I went through, like anyone probably would, and checked it out.
Down memory lane.
And man, I was just looking at my hairline, and I'm like, and then I went back and looked in the mirror. I'm like, wow, like that's when you really see it, and you see, like, wow, what I used to look like compared to now. But I would recommend anybody, come in and talk to you and move forward with that if you're really interested in, trying to maintain your youth and try to look good, because I've noticed after having this the last couple weeks, as I've absorbed looking at myself, my confidence has rose a lot. Even though I'm physically fit, I take care of myself. When you look in the mirror, that confidence you feel and you looking at yourself is uber important in everything you do in life. So, man, I've been so happy that I called you up, man, and made the journey down here to do this. So it's been,
and that's the whole purpose of this whole podcast, man. Like this whole little talking about it. Like I want people to hear this coming out of your mouth, right? Somebody that's actually experiencing this, that's actually going through. Because I can sit here and say it all I want, but they're just gonna look at it and be like, "Oh, he's just trying to sell me. He's just trying to make money."
yeah.
And everything that we've ever done with our brand, we have always stand behind caring about people, doing things for others, putting myself, like, just even being a business owner, as far as a barbershop owner, managing so many barbers, right? I have to put myself beneath them in order to be able to help them rise, right? And just make sure that everybody's always doing good. So from cutting somebody's hair and making them look good and feel good, that's what made me fall in love with cutting hair. Doing SMP, it's the same thing, but it's like forever now. And then there's a little piece of me stuck into your skin right there, bro. That at 80, you're going to look at yourself and be like, I don't look that old because Justin took care of me back then,
Well, I remember talking to you on the phone. We were talking about this, I had a lot of reservations and I was so nervous, but even like when I used to come into the barbershop and talk to you about, because I've always been pretty particular about my hair. I always want the skin tight fade. I always want to look fresh and clean. But talking to you and doing something like this, it's permanent. Like you're thinking like, oh God, it's permanent. What if it doesn't look good? But man, I looked at your work. I seen all the clients come out, smiles on their face. And I looked at all the stuff that you post on social media, the hairlines and every experience, really absorbing what you do. And, man, walking in here, as soon as I walked in, I mean, you just like eased those fears. Like I was like, man, this is cool. Cause, I'd known you and you made me feel comfortable, but, just going for it, I think, was the toughest thing. But, man, I'm so happy I did, man. I'm happy to be here back today.
Well, brother, doing little dots on somebody's head is one thing. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
Right? The rest of it really falls on me. Like I told you when we did the first session, like your image is all in my hands. So that's more than just doing the little tattoo dots on your scalp.
Yeah.
It's literally framing out your face, making sure that your hairline is age appropriate, that it's going to be timeless with you too, right? Like if we would have brought it down really low and give it a real sharp hairline, say 55, 60 years old, you're going to be calling me, yo, how can I change this? And we're going to have to laser tattoo remove it and then soften it up, which it can be done. Like if you're set and you want it to be sharp, you can do it and it can be reversed. But, doing it this way is more subtle. It looks good. Nobody really notices. So like I take all of that into consideration when I talk to every single person I talk to. That's the same thing, bro. Everybody says they're afraid of what's going to look like long term. Yeah. They're afraid of what other people are going to think, right? Are they going to notice it? They've seen really bad jobs out there because people are really doing their research about this. And they're seeing all the bad procedures that are out there too. So, I got to make sure that I'm listening to everything you're telling me and every single client's telling me. And I take that into consideration and just kind of formulate it to make sure that your experience, from the moment you walk in to the moment you leave, is great. And once you leave here and you're by yourself in that mirror, and there's nobody around, it's just you in that mirror, it's just like, man, this is the best decision I ever made.
Yeah,
that's real important to us.
Yeah, man, and that's one thing that I really, even when you were barbering and I would come in, like, dude, you've always been very passionate about everything that you do, and that's one of the reasons why, like, I just, knew when I come in here, everything's going to be okay, because I know your personality, man. And you always, you can tell the passion in your voice and how you treat people and how you respond to things, that you're very passionate about what you do, man. I respect that a lot, man.
We're going to get into your second session here in a second. How do you feel with the way it's turned out so far? Is there anything specific that you want me to address?
Yeah, now that I had a couple weeks to absorb it, I was, I was really nervous at first. I do want to crisp the front part of it a little bit more, but still maintain a little natural, just be a little bit more defined, more like the skin tight fade look, fresh and clean. Still want to keep it natural, but just bring it a little forward, a little bit more crisp. So, and I was really glad that the first time I come in here, I could kind of see it. now the stress is kind of relieved, and I feel like I can pull it off, you know. That's the main thing, really the main thing, and I think it's important. The second session, you know, at first I was like, well, why would I ever need a second session? You know, I can get this done right off the jump and be done with it. But you were right. The second session is important because you really see. For the first session, you really get used to it. You absorb it. You look in the mirror, and then you go, okay, maybe I'll adjust this just a little bit, and you find that happy spot that you want to be in of how it looks. So,
where it's also fresh, like with any tattoo, like even these traditional tattoos, when it's freshly done, those dots kind of stand out. Yeah. Remember, the first goal is to create that undertone, that little grayish tone that your hair follicles that are underneath the skin.
Yeah.
Right? That grayish tone, that's the goal with the first session. So that's exactly how your dots healed. It's kind of a little light grayish tone. So now with this session, I go in between those dots with the darker, and it looks like the little stubble hair that's coming out the head. You get me? So, you know, even like right now, you can see all the little spaces of skin in between your dots, and that's what makes it look like, okay, we still need more. You know, that's what definitely solidifies you to understand that you always need that second session. Because if I would have just filled it all in, you know, and just made it look 100% perfectly done, when it heals, all those dots would have merged together, and it would look like a stain in those areas.
Okay.
It wouldn't have all that little gappage of skin in between it. It wouldn't look real. So we wouldn't be looking at Chest MP like this. We'd be looking like a stain right here and then hair.
Yeah, I certainly don't want that. So, I was, you know, looking in the mirror and having it for 2 or 3 weeks and really seeing it. I understand now why you were telling me what you were telling me at first of the steps.
Yeah. A lot of people think that too. A lot of people hit me up and they're like, you know, how about we just do one session? Can you just try to knock it out in one session? Like they think, and there's some SMP artists out there that promote one session procedures, and there is no way to officially do a one session procedure and then look natural and realistic. It's 100% impossible. Like, it won't happen. It's always going to look like a stain tattoo on your head. I've done this, so I speak from experience. You know, I actually have a close friend of ours which was one of my first SMPs, and I recently just sent him to go get his lasered off because I oversaturated his head. It looked more like a stain, and his was similar to yours because it was just the corners and the crown. And now, 7 years later, the rest has kind of fallen out. So to tie it all together, it's not going to work. You know, so I sent him to get a laser. Now we just redid it, man. I'm going to show you guys real soon. We just redid it, and it came out amazing. His hairline was extremely sharp. Now it's nice and subtle, kind of like what we're going to do with your hairline.
Okay.
Because I know you're saying that you want it to be more defined.
Yeah.
With the second session, it's always going to make it look more defined.
Okay.
So we'll still keep it looking natural, so it's still slightly broken up. But it's going to stand out more for you. It's going to frame you out even more without creating it too crispy.
That sounds great.
But if you want it at the end of the day, once you look at it, if you want me to make it look crispier, I can just add a couple little dots to it.
Okay.
Sharpen it up a little bit more for you.
Okay, that sounds great, man.
So I'd rather show you that way first. Let's ease into it because I don't want you to look in the mirror and be like, damn, it's kind of natural.
I got you, man. I got you, man. That sounds good, man.
Yeah, options, man. Options. So you ready to get this doing?
Yeah, man. Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's do it.
So Jesse, can I see a mirror? I wanted to show you something in the back. See in the back right there where I kind of had some hair loss where it kind of looks almost like a horseshoe where it goes down. Yeah, I really wanted to make sure that that's blended in and maybe a little darker. I don't want to see that at all, if that's okay.
You're talking about right here. You got this horseshoe right here?
Yeah.
It's curving?
Yeah.
So now, are you going to continue to wear your hair shaved the way you told me you're going to wear it?
Yeah, I want to keep it down shaved. Sometimes, though, I don't get to shave it as much as I would like. Just something that I can kind of flex just a little bit. Have a little space where it maybe just a little longer or all the way shaved down.
Got it. Because the thing is that whenever you shave, it's going to blend right in.
Okay.
So whenever you grow your hair out, you're going to see that because the hairs are laying down over them and it's creating this dark shadow down here, which is what creates that U.
Okay.
So if you let it grow, you're always going to see it no matter what.
Okay.
And if I was to darken this area too much for you right now, when you shave, you're going to have the reverse. You're going to have a dark, full head of hair, U shape back here. So if you're going to always, if your number one way of styling your hair is going to be shaving it all the way, then I'm going to match it to whatever that looks like. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot fuller. Anyways, this is the first session, so it's really light. But you're still going to always get this little light spot right here because these hairs are too long. So that'll let you know when it's time to shave. Once you start seeing that it's like, okay, it's time to shave.
Okay, I got you.
So I know you mentioned that you want to emphasize this and kind of add more density so the hairline stands out a little bit more.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is when I do the second session right now, you see all these little gaps of skin in between there? That's what really makes it look pretty light in that area.
Okay.
So now when I fill it in, it's going to emphasize, it's going to make it stand out more anyways. So it's going to create that little frame for you even more.
Okay.
So once I'm done with that, once we're done with your procedure and you look in the mirror, if you feel like you want to make it look a little sharper, then I can always add a little bit more to it. So I'm just going to run that second session all the way to it to create that density in there.
Okay.
And let you see it that way first before just going too sharp. And then I don't want you to be like, damn, we should have kept it kind of soft.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. All right, so right here in the front areas, the color is perfect, man. Like the darkness of it.
Okay.
So I'm actually gonna go lighter in between to create that lighter grayish tone in between, because I think the darkness is 100% perfect matching your hair follicles. And then the areas where you have existing hair follicles, some of those little gaps, I'm actually gonna go a little bit darker to mimic more of the little dots of hair sticking out in those areas.
Okay.
Because that lighter gray tone, it definitely healed back here better.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna have two different shades of ink that I'm gonna be running through.
Okay.
Let's get to it. Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
How's this feel today, Steve, compared to last time so far? Any difference?
No, it's about the same. Say the pain is, it's like maybe just someone just, like you say, it's someone just kind of poking you off and on. But the pain is not anything excessive.
Nice. And then how was the healing for you?
The healing was good. I followed your regimen with the foam and the moisturizer and everything. Kept it moisturized, and it's by talking to you and you taking a look at it, it looks like it really healed really well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, everything stuck. I'm gonna say it was like a 95% retention.
Okay.
Barely anything lightened up.
Yeah.
Like what did lighten up was just normal. There's a layer of skin that heals over these little dots.
Okay.
That's gonna kind of dumb it down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, man, I was, really trying to pay attention to what you were telling me with the, the aftercare, because I'm sure that's uber important coming out of the gate with you taking, after the first session.
Most definitely. You gotta, it's an investment, bro. You paid a lot of money for this. Between the travel and the procedure, you want to make sure that it lasts, you get the most out of it as possible. And it's simple, it's nothing crazy. You just stay away from heavy sweating and drinking alcohol.
I got
4
you, man.
days, 4 days, we're good with my aftercare.
Yeah, I didn't have to worry about the alcohol, but I do like to work out. But I did remember you telling me to take a break for a few days with that and not really do any kind of sweating.
Yeah, and it's good to take those little breaks from the working out too, man. Like give your body time to recuperate. It's like when you get back in, you actually get more gains.
Yeah, man. I just kind of looked at it as a little mini break.
Yeah, that's blending in perfect.
Oh man. Love to hear
so
that.
That little separation that you had right there?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Tied in 100% now. Between the first session, second session, even like on our end, there's really no way to know exactly what to expect. Everybody's skin heals completely different. So some people's skin heals a little darker, some heals a little bit lighter. The person has dry or oily skin, it might almost completely fade away. So that tells me that I do gotta go a little darker with it next time. Maybe go a little deeper into the skin. So again, like when we were talking about that whole first session and even the second session, it's super important.
One thing that I noticed, because I have tattoos, regular tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed about this was I didn't see the peel like you normally do with a tattoo. I mean, I kept it moisturized, but I didn't really feel like it.
It flaked.
Yeah. It stayed, and then it was healing really smoothly, so I was happy about that.
Yeah. It's, you know, a lot of that has to do with the aftercare. You know, I believe in moisturized healing versus dry healing. A lot of tattoo artists are going to, you know, always tell you not to wash it, not to wet it for a week, don't put anything on it, you know, leave it alone. But when you do that and it's dry, the skin's dry, it's going to naturally start to peel and scab up. So we kind of prevented it from scabbing. But at the same time, we're not going deep enough to make you bleed. You get a little bit of lymphatic fluid that comes out with a tiny bit of blood. That's, you know, all the white blood cells coming to heal the skin where I'm puncturing.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll never get that.
Yeah, I didn't experience anything afterward. I didn't experience any kind of pain or any kind of discomfort or.
How long did the redness last?
Maybe about a day and a half. Once that redness kind of toned down a little bit, I could really see it.
Cool. Yeah, no, day and a half is good. Most of the time, people are like 2, 3.
Oh, wow.
Some people were like 4 days.
Oh, I didn't.
Gradually every day it got a little bit lighter, but
yeah, it didn't take me. I mean, two at the most.
Steve, that's it, bro. How you feeling? So this is the end of the second session.
I'm feeling great, man. I was a little nervous also coming in for the second session, but I appreciate you going over everything with me and addressing all the concerns that I had and questions that I had, especially about the horseshoe area in the back, and then you know, making the line more crisp and more clean in front. When I looked in the mirror, it was like you know, I don't know, I was almost speechless, man, because, you know, it just came at me, and I was like, now, like, man, it looks so good. I'm really pleased, man.
We're gonna like comparing the first session to the second session.
Yeah.
Like when you first see yourself with the first session, since you haven't had a hairline for so long, it's like, wow, it looks good. But then when you see the second session and it's the full thing, bro, like now you have all the density, you have all that texture, it blends in perfect into the hair follicles you grow. It's like a whole different.
Yeah, man, the second session set it off, man. Like the first one, you know, like I say, you have to look at it and absorb it. And I'm glad that I had that in-between time to adjust to it and get used to it. And I didn't feel as nervous, and I was more open to your suggestions, and I didn't feel as reserved this time and cautious coming in this time, because I knew, like, man, I mean, you walked me right through it, and then when I ask you anything, man, you're like on point with telling me exactly what we needed to do, man, and I could not be more pleased, man.
So it was worth the drive this time, right? Because you drove.
Worth the drive. I actually was out of town yesterday and actually drove down from Memphis. It was a long drive.
How many hours was that?
12 hours.
Sheesh.
So crazy drive, but man, I'd drive it all over again. Come back to get this, man. It looks fantastic.
And then North Carolina, what, 9 or more hours back?
Yeah, I go back tonight, 9 hours tonight. So it's all right. I'll knock it out, man. Yeah. I'll be driving home with confidence. So I could not be more happier, man.
No, man, I appreciate it. Anything that you would want to share to the audience of somebody watching that, you know, is kind of going through what you went through from before we did SMP to now having it?
If I had to give anybody any advice, I would tell them to call you, talk to you. Like you say, you know, I've waited a couple years to get this done, just looking, being cautious, being reserved and nervous. But especially when you come here and you speak with you, or you speak with you on the phone. I know you called me a couple times. You kind of gave me the rundown of how it goes. I'll just say go for it. Believe me, I'm super conservative when it comes to just, you know, I'm scared sometimes I get scared to try new things. Man, I'll tell anybody just to go for it, man, because I could not be more pleased, and I feel so much. It's, you know, it's kind of funny that a lot of part of what your shop talks about is confidence, and man, when you walk out of here and you see that hairline, you feel young again, man. Your confidence just goes through the roof, man. So, who's ever listening, don't wait. Do it, man. Do it, because man, you're a master at your craft, man, and I appreciate it a lot, man.
Yeah,
thank you, man.
Thanks again, bro.
Thank you, man.
You guys have it. This is the end of the second session. I'm glad you guys watched this. I really appreciate y'all sticking through and really seeing what it's like, man. Not only from the aspect of somebody, coming and getting a tattoo on their scalp, but understanding like people really go through certain situations when they're losing their hair, whether it's alopecia, whether it's cancer, whatever the situation is. The reason for this whole podcast is to create awareness and let people know that there's a solution. It's a cosmetic solution, but it will change your life. And if you guys enjoy what y'all watch, stick to, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification button, because there'll be a lot more of these coming out. So to the next podcast, man, appreciate you guys.